This week, we're going a little bit posh because we are taking a look back at Bridget Jones Dairy starring Renée Zellweger.
Yes, the 2001 romantic comedy film directed by Sharon Maguire. And of course, it was based on a 1996 novel of the same name, which is also based on Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, hence the whole Darcy situation. So, fun fact about this is Andrew Davies, who was one of the screenwriters, and he also was the screenwriter of the TV adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. So there's this crossover here, and kind of the reason they got Colin Firth involved, and he kind of has that self-referential, like, I'm Mr. Darcy still,
I'm Mr. Darcy.
No matter what. So
he's always Mr. Darcy.
Bridget Jones, stars Renée Zellweger, like you mentioned, but Bridget Jones is this 32-year-old English, single, white woman who is, like, they focus on her weight so much, and we'll get to that in a minute, who writes a diary which focuses on the things she wishes to happen in her life, but then two men vie for her, like, happens to us all the time, of course.
Oh, of course. We're constantly involved in love triangles all the time. It had been such a long time since I saw this movie, and I saw it as a young girl. I haven't seen it as an adult, and I gotta say, so many parts of it don't really seem to age well anymore.
Listen, I'm trying to be better about not knocking things that people love, but this movie just does not do it for me. I gotta say, the whole weight thing drives me absolutely bananas this entire movie, because they put so much focus on, like, Bridget Jones is overweight, she's fat, whatever. She's like 135 pounds in this movie, maybe. That is not the standard. Oh, it makes me so angry.
The thing that really bothered me, the thing that really bothered me is that she wrote down her weight every single day. And I will say, from the 31 years of living my life, that I find scales to be extremely toxic. I don't have it in my bathroom. Do not weigh yourself every day. That's bad. But if it wasn't Renée Zellweger, it would have been someone else. So let's break down who was almost cast in this movie, starting with Bridget, our titular character. And before Zellweger stole the show, it was actually going to be Aussie Toni Collette. Toni dropped out. Brit, Kate Winslet was also considered for this, but then she didn't get the part. Other names that were thrown around were Emily Watson, Rachel Weisz, and Cameron Diaz. I'm so glad it wasn't Cameron Diaz.
That's bull.
But it eventually ended up going to Renée, who did a lot to get ready for this part.
Well, I don't know.
Like a lot.
Yes, so she gained 17 pounds for the part, which was like at the time, this was like a big media story. Like, everyone was hyper fixated on Renée Zellweger gaining weight and what it was for and what was happening. And oh my God, she gained 17 pounds, which, like, now that we're in this pandemic, we're like, oh, I could do that in a week.
She also went above and beyond and worked at a real publishing house, like behind the scenes, in order to get ready for this movie. So in the weeks leading up to it, she became a temp of the Picador Publishing House. And at the time, she was actually dating Jim Carrey in real life. And so she put a photo of Jim Carrey on her desk, but everyone else just thought she was like a random girl who was obsessed with Jim Carrey, not realizing that it was actually Renée Zellweger, and that was a picture of her boyfriend just chilling on her desk. E.T. actually caught up with her to find out what it was like, kind of like going undercover, and here's what she had to say.
I wanted to know what her day would be like, what her work experience was like, and it was invaluable in terms of research, to find out about her day, literally.
Nobody knew who you were.
Yeah, isn't that sad? No, it was great. I got a couple of raised eyebrows, but, we managed to pull it off. I just ducked my head and ran off anytime I got that raised eyebrow look,
Hugh was massively surprised when it comes to Renée's accent for the movie. So like we said, Renée went above and beyond to try and really get into the role. And she didn't speak in her American accent at all. Not in between takes, not in her trailer. She didn't speak in her Texas accent, her natural accent, until the rap party. And that was the very first time that Hugh actually heard her speak, and he was blown away.
I refused to recognize her as an American, but she was English on set and off the set, and I now find her unconvincing as a Texan, frankly.
Zellweger actually enlisted the help of a British accent coach, that's Barbara Berkery, and she studied under her for 3 months, and this is the same coach that taught Gwyneth Paltrow her English accent for Shakespeare in Love.
The fight scene between Hugh Grant and Colin Firth, was not choreographed at all. They just kind of went for it, you know? And it's, you know, considered to be one of the greatest fights in movie history. I guess you could say that.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
And they just had this kind of improv spar. But we actually talked to these guys about that fight scene and whether or not they got hurt. Here's what they had to say.
I didn't get hurt because I've been trained. You know, I used to be in the SAS and I had done a lot of fighting in my time. Colin, on the other hand, he fights like a girl. So I think he had trouble with the fighting.
You told us the other night in New York
that I fight like a girl. Yeah, I've heard that one. It's a special technique I have to throw my opponent, the girly thing. Just when you think I'm a soft touch, you get a face full of moussaka. So watch it.
Ash, now that we've watched this movie and we've discovered that Hugh Grant's character is like a British F-boy, what do you really think about these two men? Who would you pick if you had to?
Gotta go with the Mark Darcy all the way. I mean, this is the guy that's gonna like nurture you, communicate with you, build a life with you. No, do not pick the Daniel Cleavers in your life. They will come, they will go. You can go on a few dates with them, get a couple drinks out of them, get a dinner out of them, but then get them gone. Get your Mark Darcy. That's the one you end up with, not, you know.
That's the one that you will run without pants with to go find in the snow because you're worried that he's left. But in reality, he just went to get you a new diary so you guys could start fresh. But actually, when this movie came out, they polled a whole bunch of women in the UK to see, would you choose the Daniel Cleaver or would you choose the Mark Darcy? And Hugh Grant has the answer.
You know, the British press has already been running lots of stories about, are you a Colin girl or a Hugh girl? Because Colin Firth plays the nice, steady, upright, real man lawyer, and I play the devilish cad. And the British women have been kind of voting on what they prefer, and it seems to be split about 50-50.
All right, streamers, Ash and I are dying to know if you had to pick between Mark Darcy and Daniel Cleaver on Bridget Jones' Diary, who would you pick?
Yes, let us know. And if you're going to be going back and watching those Brady episodes, do you have a favorite episode? There's so many iconic moments. We want to know. Use that hashtag StreamQueens, and we'll see you guys next time.